grounded every plane in Texas to stop what no one else could see. Blackout protocol.
Mexican cartel drones just breached American airspace over El Paso, Texas. The FAA shut down all flights, the first complete airspace closure since 9/11. But here's what the mainstream media won't tell you about how this crisis was actually resolved and who's really responsible for letting it get this far. You see, this isn't just a border security issue. Think again, no. These were not recreational drones. These were military-grade cartel aircraft penetrating deep into American territory. Your commercial flights were grounded. Your national security was compromised. Fort Bliss had to deploy laser countermeasures near civilian aircraft. This represents a complete breakdown of border control that puts every American at risk. When foreign criminal organizations can shut down major American cities with impunity, we are not talking about immigration anymore. We're talking about an invasion. And the cartels just proved they can ground American aviation whenever they want. So what's next? Your city's airspace? And speaking of threats that most people don't see coming, I do need to tell you about something that could protect you when the next crisis hits. That's right, something's brewing and you can feel it. Cartel drones shutting down American cities, economic uncertainty, global tensions rising. The problem, you never know the full story until after the crash, after the collapse, after it's too late. So here's the brutal truth. You can't protect yourself after. You have to be ready now. So all this uncertainty, all the chaos, the warning signs, they may be pointing to something bigger. And that's why smart Americans are moving portions of their savings into actual physical gold and silver. Central banks are buying this stuff up. It's actually quite hard to get, but Noble Gold Investments makes it simple to own precious metals in an IRA or delivered directly to your door. So don't wait for the next crisis. Visit nextnewsgold.com or call that number on the screen, because when everything else fails, gold does endure, and there's a special gift for you if you call and you mention Next News. But here is the part that will make you furious. Aviation expert Mike Boyd says the FAA doesn't shut down major city airspace for 10 days unless something is seriously wrong. Yet the Pentagon managed to disable these cartel drones and reopen the airspace within hours, once decisive action was taken. So why did it take 10 days? What changed exactly? Now, this is some breaking footage here that was sent to me by our White House correspondent Thomas McCullough earlier today. According to Mexican media reports, a significant military operation underway in Jesus Maria, Sinaloa. So this could in fact be, I mean, you can hear it. This could be related to the drone activity as a counter-offensive. It's still unclear exactly what's going on, but you can see the chaos that's unfolding there in Mexico. It seems to dovetail almost at the exact same time as what was happening in El Paso. So this just in, I mean, look at these choppers. They're flying around. There's crazy stuff happening right there. But the FAA did abruptly close the airspace around El Paso for 10 days for special security reasons. Airline sources tell Reuters the El Paso flight grounding is linked to Pentagon counter-drone operations targeting Mexican cartel drones near the U.S.-Mexico border.
Southwest 1249, are you guys supposed to fly out?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Southwest 1249, are you guys departing again tonight, or is this final flight in?
Nah, we're going to the hotel.
Roger. Just be advised, I guess there's a TFR going into effect. Just pass it on to the Southwest and everybody else. At 0630 for the next 10 days, we're stopped, all ground stopped.
Okay, ground stopped at 0630 for how long?
10 days.
So the airport's totally closed?
Apparently, we just got informed about 30 minutes to an hour ago.
So for 10 days, you guys are not open?
Well, I mean, we'll be here, but no air traffic.
Okay, thanks for that heads up.
Cargo South 120 Heavy, it just says a security alert, TFR is going into effect.
Yeah. And the U.S. forces disabled the Mexican cartel drones after the cartel's unmanned aircraft breach U.S. airspace near El Paso. Video below, not directly related, but is an example of the existence of the cartel drones. Now, this looks like that's a significant sized drone. That's quite scary, actually. Really? We got the music in the background. Hey! Check out my drone! Looks like they're attaching something to it. They're probably going to be, they're like attaching drugs or something to it. That was just sent in by Todd. So let's continue. We've got more here. The breaking news hits the wires, but the details are still emerging. Let's see what happens when the cartel drones actually breach the airspace. Unverified footage now shows aerial activity over El Paso as cartel drones reached U.S. airspace. FAA issuing the first shutdown since 9/11. Department of War disabled the drones. Laser countermeasures deployed from Fort Bliss near civilian flights. 10-day ban lifted hours after it began. This is the footage that has been released. There's no audio on it. Reminds me of those drones over New Jersey. Remember that? Yeah, it's hard to make out exactly what's happening here, but apparently this is some of the footage from that moment. Aerial activity over El Paso. So we have some dramatic details of the military response. Now this raises the bigger questions about what this means. International drones allegedly linked to Mexican cartel reported to have violated U.S. airspace, according to official reports. So this is from the international press. Drones over Texas. International media picking up on the story, asking some questions. Back home sources are confirming the Pentagon's involvement. Let's take a look at this from Real America's Voice earlier today.
Continuing to follow this situation about those grounded flights in El Paso. We've been talking about it all morning long. Within the last 30 minutes or so, RAV host David Zier quoting some officials that he's been talking to over at the Pentagon, giving us new information from his sources that apparently what led to all of this is some Mexican cartel drones that were in the airspace over El Paso. The Department of War has apparently, quote, disabled the drones, which I think for most of us, the translation is shot them out of the sky. But those drones are no more over the airspace. But again, it did cause a closure over the airspace overnight. And in fact, we thought that the airspace over El Paso specifically was going to be closed for about 10 days, but it is now back open. And again, David, all of this now as a result of some Mexican drug cartel drones that were in the airspace that the Department of War has now, quote, disabled, shot down in my the way I would translate that. And so the airspace is back open.
Airspace back open. You heard those pilots like, what, 10 days? Are you serious? Pentagons are now on record about the military drone disabling operations and the political reactions pouring in. Colin Rugg, the move to shut down El Paso airspace for 10 days was triggered by the cartel drones. Here's more from Fox.
The temporary closure of airspace over El Paso. It's now been lifted. The agency said there is no threat to commercial aviation. All flights will soon resume as normal. This comes hours after flights in and out of El Paso International Airport were closed, with officials citing special security reasons. So this is good news, but the mystery remains. For those people who are heading home from El Paso, maybe you want to turn around and call your local airline.
And maybe the cartels are freaking out right now, because I don't think Trump's going to take this lightly. Political figures weighing in, official confirmation, but the scope of the incident appears to be larger than initially reported. The no-fly zone over New Mexico, El Paso. It appears Mexican drug cartel drones have entered Texas and New Mexico airspace for several hours. It appears on flight data several fighter jets, police, Marine helicopters have been dispatched. Good God. Dude, the cartels do not know what they're messing with, man. They're going to find out what the Department of War means real quick. Situation escalated beyond El Paso. Multi-state airspace violations, massive military response. Aviation experts very alarmed. Jim Ferguson, he's a great follow on X, by the way. 10 days, 0 flights, something very wrong. The FAA doesn't shut down all airspace over major U.S. city for 10 days unless something is seriously wrong. And here's another post that he made with respect to that situation.
FAA is halting all flights to and from El Paso, Texas for 10 days for unspecified special security reasons. And they're warning that any pilots who don't comply, quote, may be intercepted, detained, and interviewed by law enforcement. El Paso Airport confirming the news in a statement saying, in part, the FAA on short notice issued a temporary flight restriction halting all flights to and from El Paso. Commercial airlines operating out of El Paso are being informed of the restriction, which appears to be security related. Southwest, United, American, and Delta all operate flights there. And Fort Bliss Army Base is right next door.
Makes perfect sense. So the Department of War didn't just disable the cartel drones, they sent a message. After years of weakness at the border, America finally responding with overwhelming force. Laser countermeasures, fighter jets, marine helicopters, the full arsenal deployed to protect American airspace. The cartels learn real quick what happens when you mess with American sovereignty under strong leadership. See, this is what real border security looks like. Not catch and release, not looking the other way, but immediate overwhelming response to foreign threats on American soil. The cartels thought they could intimidate America with their drones. Well, they were wrong. When our military is unleashed to do their job, problems get solved very fast. Okay, no 10-day closures, no drawn-out negotiations, just swift American justice. And the message is clear. American airspace belongs to America. So do you think this kind of decisive action is exactly what we need more of at our border? Drop your thoughts below and hit that subscribe button and check out the Next News merch shop for gear that shows you stand with America first.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
They don't want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now. You know out.